Welcome to Parts of Montessori, a series where I talk about my past, present, and future experiences in Montessori. I'm Bethany, a former Montessori student and now a Montessori teacher. Parts of Montessori is part of my online business, Parts of the Language LLC, where I sell digital and printable products and services for Spanish language learning and digital and printable products for Montessori environments. In this episode, I am going to talk about the order in which I teach punctuation to first, second, and third graders. Each day, the students practice punctuation with 2 daily editing sentences. Some teachers put sentences on a board and have the students correct and write the sentences in a notebook or on a piece of paper. In my classroom, I used to use daily editing papers from a book, but then, so I could fit with the Montessori method better, I created my own editing pages for first, second, and third grade. There are 36 weeks for each grade level. Each page is for 1 week. It has Monday through Friday on it, and it has 2 sentences each day for the students to edit. The students usually complete the work first because in my classroom, they need to complete the daily editing before eating snack. So that way I know that they're practicing the punctuation, handwriting, and spelling each and every day. The students have to show me the sentences so that I can see that they have edited them correctly. They also read them to me, so it's an extra way to practice reading. You can access these editing sentences for free at my free resource hub at the link below. You could also edit these sentences so that they work for your class. Before a new concept comes up on the editing sheets, I will have a group with the students about the new punctuation topic. Now I will tell you what weeks I introduce new concepts. We will start with first grade. The first month, weeks 1 to 4, we focus on putting a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence and a period at the end. The words are mostly short vowel words and blends at this point, but I do throw in some more difficult words so that they can challenge the students. Obviously, if some first graders are more advanced, it will be too easy for them to read, but that's okay because I'm trying to isolate the difficulty of capitalizing the first letter and putting a period at the end. At week 5, I introduced the question mark. From week 5 through 12, they still practice the capital letter at the beginning of the sentences and then having to choose if they use a period at the end of the sentence or a question mark. Obviously, now all year, they have to capitalize the beginning of the sentence, and they decide if it will be a period or question mark for the rest of the year, until obviously the exclamation point will be introduced. At week 13, I introduced that months, days of the week, and names of people need to be capitalized. At first, I only put the people's names at the beginning of the sentence so they could capitalize it anyways, because at the beginning of a sentence, you need a capital. So from weeks 13 to 17, they are practicing everything from the weeks before, but also the capitalization of months and days. At week 18, capitalization of names are added in different points of the sentences, so not just at the beginning. Also at week 18, I introduced apostrophes and contractions. Many first graders take all year to remember this skill, but I still introduce it to them and make sure they have a strong foundation, even if I have to remind them every day. And obviously, they get the presentation, do the Montessori material work for it, and then they will see it on their editing sentences. So this is just a way for them to be able to practice it over and over instead of just doing the work one time and then kind of forgetting about it. This is the repetition that is needed so that they remember these concepts. And by week 18, I would have already told them that the letter I needs to be capitalized when referring to yourself, but now I start to add them into the middle of sentences so that they realize capital I needs to be anywhere capital in the sentence. At week 20, I introduced the exclamation point. Since exclamation points are optional at the end of sentences in writing, since you could technically just put a period if the sentence wasn't clear, I like to use sentences like, oh, add an exclamation point. Then on the editing sentence paper, the next letter is capitalized. So, oh, we had so much fun at the party, right? So, oh, exclamation point, capital we, right? The W in we. And then they would have to put either a period at the end or another exclamation point if they wanted. What I see mostly is the exclamation point after the O and then the period at the end. Through week 36, the editing sheets I have created just have the practicing on repeat, all the punctuation skills I have just mentioned above. The words do get more challenging as the year progresses. Again, if this sounds like you would like these editing pages already made for you or you could edit them, click the link for the free Montessori resources hub I have created below. I will talk about the punctuation and editing sentences for second grade. Week 1 is just adding the capital letter at the beginning of the sentence, then adding a period at the end. Week 2 adds in deciding between adding a period or question marks, and then obviously those go the rest of the year, and most of these concepts go throughout the rest of the year. Week 3, add apostrophes and contractions and capitalize days of the weeks and months of the year. I do have groups and lessons with the students to review these topics they should remember from first grade. I go through each singular and plural rule in second grade, and the Montessori material for that has 10 weeks. So it's about 10 weeks in total, but then I also put them in the editing sentences so that the students just don't learn them and then do the work and forget them. So at week 6, we start with the Y changes to IES rule, and before we talk about that, we just talk about adding an S that makes the word plural, but they usually already know that one. And then during week 7, I also add in the addition of apostrophes, the apostrophe S in names to show possession. Week 8, I add in the F changes to VES plural. Week 9, I add on the plural of O to ES, and then words like box that needs to add an ES, and also irregular plurals, like how it goes from mouse to mice and not mouses. Also words that do not change in the plural, like fish. At week 12, I add the capitalization of cities, countries, and continents. Also, for the second graders, I will add in spelling errors that they have to try to fix. It could be any words, including separating compound words, etc. I also put compound words in the first graders, and I believe I forgot to mention that earlier. At week 20, we start learning the different theirs, so THERE, THY apostrophe RE, and THEIR. They write them. And how I do it is I write all of them on the editing papers with slashes by them so they know they have to pick which one is correct. This is also when they have to start choosing between homophones, for example, C and C, so SEE and SEA, and I also use slashes between them. So the sentence could be like, there, and they're all the different theirs running, and then of course they would choose the correct there to put in. Or I see the fish in the sea, and then there's both C's there in both parts of the sentences, so they circle the correct one and then they fully write out the sentence underneath the editing sentences. At week 23, I put in fill in the blanks so that they can write a word. Usually I put it in parentheses. For example, a sentence could say, I am happy and blank, in parentheses synonym, and they would have to think of a synonym for themselves. That means obviously the same thing as happy, so it could be, I am happy and glad. At week 29, I add in the different yours, and then by week 30, we start to add in the quotation marks in dialogue. For the third grade editing, they practice everything they learned in first, second, and third grade with a heavy emphasis on quotation marks and lots of incorrectly spelled words that they need to fix. So the third grade editing sentences are just one big, giant, and harder review so that they can hopefully hone in those punctuation skills. But then also we do some things with commas and other skills that might not be on the punctuation sheets. And if you say, well, you didn't mention this for punctuation or that for punctuation, I tried to, and obviously not all word study things are on here, but I do try to add in word study things or on my sheets too. If we're doing a cultural thing at certain points of the year, I like to add in those on the editing sheet so it kind of combines into what we're doing. And I also sometimes change my editing sheets too from if I want to, because of course you could edit them as well. And again, if it sounds like you like these editing pages, they are already made for you, or you could edit them. Click the link to the free resource hub below. Of course, this episode is sponsored by my own business, Parts of the Language LLC. Please sign up for my free Montessori hub of resources that you can use in your Montessori environments. There are over 15 plus items, including 453 printable math equation cards, 36 weeks for first and second level editing sentences, and so much more. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.